Welcome to the Seven Crosses series for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. We're picking up on the 5th of August 2029. In this video, I want to do three things. The first, I'm going to give you an update of where I am with the current map and what progress I've made since the end of the last video. The second one, I want to go through some minor features that have cropped up, and I think it'd be easier just to cover them in the beginning of this video. And then the main part that will be laying out our first metro line across the map, but I'll go into more depth about that later on. From an update perspective, we're not that far on from the end of the last video, and what I've done is a little bit of planning. This brown square here was actually a prison, but after I did the first look video for Metro, I just realized that I needed a bit more space here. So what I've done is I've put the prison up here. Now, the reason I'm building another prison is the fact that I did a quick check round, and the prison population isn't 100% full, but it's starting to get there. And when this city is finished, we may get quite a big spike in prisoners. So I want to put this prison in just to make sure we got the capacity. Also, I'm going to be very interested to see that when we put the metro station in here, whether the workers will travel out to the prison, because one of the main features of doing the metro lines is to see if we can build a public transport network. Now, of course, as you probably would have noticed, the other big feature is I finished the stadium here, although it's got no power supply, but we'll sort that out later on. And I've also started playing around with the water supply network and sewage network in this area. What I've actually done is I've moved, and well, I built two large water wells over here because I'm kind of toying with the idea that I may want to put in a second water treatment plant down here, just to see if I can ensure the capacity, because this has got a 300 cubic meter capacity, and what I might have to do is move these distribution offices away and put another water treatment plant in there. So that's that bit there. Over here, various bits and pieces are coming together. We're nearly finished the water treatment plant I put in here for the top part of the map. Got an issue with water and sewage over here that needs to be fixed, and of course our heating plant at the moment for bitumen is finished, and you can see we've actually got the bitumen in there. So that's roughly where we are at the moment. Now if I come back over here, what I want to do now is move to the second part where I'm going to talk about some of the new features of the 0.8.84 update, which was released into the Steam test branch on the 12th of September, which is the reason why we're making this video. And I want to start by saying a big thank you for Morgan, because if you watch my first look video, I was a bit confused over this underground station, why we had duplicates, and he quite rightly pointed out that what it actually does, if I zoom in a bit close so we get it there, if you press Q and E, it goes down the depth. And he quite rightly pointed out that these should really show the depths like it does with the sewage lines here. And my other observation would be is that I'm looking at this, I'm not convinced that the depths are deep enough. It's difficult to tell, and if they printed the depths, then we'd know actually what it is. But having done a little bit more experimenting with crossing tunnels, I think that this could probably do with going a little bit deeper. Now, as a spin-off of that, and something I actually discovered by accident, because I'm actually just doing some testing, is that there's now some extra conveyors here. Actually, let me just go in here. Where's the workshop buildings? We'll just turn off all the mods so you can see what is actually in game and not. What we got is these buildings. These are exactly the same as the underground power. What you can do now is it's only got two heights, but you can see, so we've got an extra lift, and then what they've actually done is done the version of 3 in and 1 out. So and this one's quite interesting in the sense that the actual the out is higher, slightly higher as well. It's not actually on the ground. I don't know, let me just see. It's a bit difficult to tell. So that one there is halfway up, that one's up there. So yeah, what you've got is the original one, which can be which is where the connection is on the ground, but you can adjust the height. And then you've got the new ones, which can get rid of these. I won't leave them on the map, because it's just going to cause even more confusion. And then what you've also got is this is 1 in 3 out. I would just put these in as well. So that one's halfway up the building. This one's on the ground. This one's halfway up the building as well. So you could just put those in there. That one's halfway up the building as well. Anyway, I don't want to labour this too much. Get rid of these. The next thing I want to talk about is actually this tool here. This is the Make City tool. Now, I've already demonstrated this in my video on making custom maps. And what I really like about this tool, and it's a tool that I am going to be using quite a lot going forward. In fact, I need, is the fact when you're actually laying out quite a large city, because one of my big bugbears, especially like, say, for example, if I just turn on well, if I turn on everything, but we'll turn on favorites. And one of my big bugbears is that you come to residential and then you end up hunting either through here, or more often in my case is hunting through here. Now what you can do now by clicking this is if you come into here, you can actually add buildings. So it's like so if you want to build a themed city, what you can do is just add the buildings that you actually want to build. And if you say you want a whole group of buildings, say like you want all the pubs, you can click the pubs, and then if you get one that you don't really want, say let's say that one, which is, you can just remove them. And of course it also applies to power connections, and probably my favorite one is these, which is I'm always using. So what you can do is you can build up a palette of buildings that you want to use. So say if you're laying power lines and you like me, it just saves all that effort of coming down here, clicking and hunting. Now the way this works is that you don't click on the buildings when it's active. You click on this and you get a building to place. So that's the current building. And then what you do is you go through and select Q and E to place what you're building. See how quick it is if you just got the, you know, the terminals. The only downside is you can't lay cables, but I think it's going to make quite a big difference with respect to when you're actually laying out and doing complicated builds. And of course, if you want to clear the palette, you just clear it like that, and away it goes. One thing I will say is that if you build up a palette in here and then you quit the game, this is not carried through to the when you reload. So every time you load in, you're gonna have to rebuild the palette. So that's something that's worth drawing your attention to. And I think that covers about everything I want to talk about here. I'll probably miss something, but what we'll do is anything else I'll talk about as we go forward, because I do really want to get into this last part. Now, if any of you have been following the series, you'll be aware that I've talked about my various plans for my metro system. And my original plan was to start in this corner and have an overhead metro running all the way out through here to this point over here. But that is being completely destroyed for reasons I'll explain as we lay in the, because this is the line I want to lay in this part. Now the other one was to have an underground, a complete underground circle all the way around here, feeding all these industrial buildings. Now again, if you've watched my first look video, you'll be aware that there are certain buildings that you can only connect when to above ground, so you can't have a completely underground network. I did have the idea of just do a quick demo. Build tunnels, you seem to need to go underground. Either that or put a building in. Anyway, I'm just putting this in. What you can't do is actually connect two tunnels together, but what you can do, let me just build that, is you can actually, with a bit of patience, you can actually go underneath like that. And this comes back to what I was saying about the depth of the power things. Anyway, we're just going to get rid of that. So my original plan to build an access service tunnel to a fully underground network got shot completely to pieces. The change in plan now is to have this line as a complete underground network. And what I'm thinking is my public, my transport exchange area will be here. And then the one that goes round will have an above ground section, which will probably be in this area, because this now leads into something that somebody put a comment on that on the video about how easy would it be to put metro into an established city. Say like you're playing in realistic mode and you build a big city, and then you get to the point where you can build a metro system, then you've got to put it retrofit it into a city. I would say it would be incredibly difficult. You'd have to delete a lot of buildings. So the approach I'm going to be taking is a bit like this, that if I was building a major city in realistic mode with the intention of putting metro in, I think I would plan the metro as part of laying the city out. The reasons for that is that you need the underground stations. If you come in here, you'll see that you can't build under existing buildings. You can get under roads, but you can't actually put the metro station under buildings, which is a little bit of a disappointment. I was hoping that we'd be able to do that, so we could have access tunnels coming up, a bit like the way the London Underground operates, where all you've got above surface is a tiny little entrance. Maybe somebody who's a modder may come up with something that can get around that. But so you're going to have to provide spaces in your existing city for it, and that comes down to, and also you've got complications which I'll talk about in a little bit of detail, of connecting it to the depots, and also if you're playing realistic mode, you've got to connect it to a construction train. I think the honest truth is that if you're going to put it, if you intend to have metro in a city eventually, you need to plan it when you actually plan the city. And to a certain degree, I actually regret putting this in, but I think I can work around it. Right, so what we're going to do is start over in this corner here. In fact, first thing we're going to do is start by knocking a building down. I should have knocked that down before I started the video. It's a little bit annoying, but just let the game run, get rid of it. The reason for knocking that down will become apparent. And what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to plan the stations. I think that's quite important. And I think here I want to put a station there. You can see why I've actually knocked down the actual restaurant that was here. But don't worry, I'm kind of got an idea of how to fit that in. Now, the other thing I also want to try out, and then this is another reason why we're going to use this building, is that I want to get this close enough to that church, because I want to see whether the people in this city would go to church. I know it's artificial, but this is all part of what I want to do. And again, I'm just going to have to leave enough space for the road. I want to get it in as close as possible. I know that people won't appreciate I'm just going to put that there. Put parcels in the wrong place, aren't they? Okay, that's not going to work. Okay, let me just try the other one. I think I'm making my own case here for... I need to leave enough space so that I can put the... Actually, I think we'll do this straight away. I think I'm just going to see if I can get in as close as possible. We're going to bring the road out towards me, so... Right, I'm going to go underground. And then footpath-wise... You can see, let's say metro entrance. Concession underpass. Yeah, we've got escalators. I'm not sure where that came from. I'm wondering. Okay, we're going to put some escalators in. Gonna get. Hopefully, where's the tunnel? It's a little bit close, but I think we can do it. I'm not going to accept that just at the moment, because the next fun bit is we've got to run a tunnel between these two buildings here. I'm pretty sure that escalator wasn't there. Right, that's going to come in there. I'm not going to put the... I'm going to try and keep the tunnels... Right, game. And hopefully that... Oh, look at that. That's brilliant. I'm going to accept that. And what I want to do is just going to quickly build that. Because what I want to do is see whether... Yeah, they will get to the church. Brilliant. So we've now got the metro station here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very quickly put the... Well, we're going to make them use the stairs. And this time I'm going to push this out a little bit. To about there. And then we'll put the tunnel in there. And hopefully we'll be able to get the actual tunnels around this. Now, we're going to come back to this area. Because the problem we got now is that we don't have... We've got to turn the actual metro round. So what we've got to do now, come to depots. I'm going to go below. And I'm going to push the... I don't want... I kind of want to put this that way around. This is going to be our end station. Now the end station is going to do two things. First, it's going to turn the metro train round. And the other thing it's also going to do is provide the timing for the line. Because what we're going to have is an end station at each end of this line, because this is going to be a point-to-point metro station. So I'm just going to put that in there. And of course, the other thing we're going to need to do is drop in a connection. I think you're getting an idea why I've removed the restaurant definitely now. And what I'm going to do is put you to there, you to there. Make sure we do the connections above ground and power. While I'm looking at it, we've got what we'll do is we'll just run that kind of clear, set that, and then we'll need to put road system in like that, and that, and then you've got that connected. Then of course what we're going to do is put the path into there, select the road. Now I could have brought the metro station out to here, but I'm not convinced that the passengers would have left the port to get to the metro station. So I thought if I put it here, the passengers will have a choice of either going into this resort or going to this one. So we've now got this point here. Now the next location I want to put in is just here. And what we're going to do now is just actually plan the stations. And kind of... Actually, what is the... This is 23 tons of steel. Let's get back into full game mode. This is 53 tons of steel. So, but of course the advantage of this is that it actually has the... you don't have to put escalators in. And I'm just going to put this one in about here because it's... I think we're okay. You can see it goes under the road, which is good. So I think we're just going to drop you in there. And then going to run metro tunnel. We're going to have to come out straight and then run you there. I'll try and make it look a little bit. We got that connected to there. Now, what I want to do here is I want to put a metro station about in this corner, but I don't want to get it too close to the stadium, because what I'm going to want is coming across here. I'll just draw the road in as a reference. Is I want the tram line coming down through here, possibly going out that way. It comes down to a little bit of, actually, what we will do is we'll put a proper underground one just here. It's just, and I will admit that I am going to probably be a little bit overkill with respect to the, maybe it's a bit difficult to tell. Let me just curve that up, because what I want to do is put the road, put the actual metro under the road so that the passengers can come up each side. Maybe we'll just move back a little bit this way. So I'm not too worried about being in range of the, can we get across in an angle like that? What's that? So with respect of roads, it's only the area in the center where the roads is, where the air vents would be, is where you'd get a problem. I'm just going to put that there. And then we're going to come over here and just press shift. And I want enough space. I wonder, maybe I'm getting a bit carried away now, but we're going to put this one here. We're going to go underground. And then what I want to see if I can, we'll have a pedestrian tunnel. It's not, there's something there because it's in scope of the building, isn't it? Can't build due to infrastructure. So what we're going to have to do is come back up, remove you, move the road. And we'll have to, I think what I will do is, no, this is, what's the capacity? As you may guess, this is 600, this is 800. I think what we're going to have to do is pull this back underground again, but path. And what we'll do is, this is the normal pedestrian underpass. See, it won't go in there. This is the normal one. I'm pretty sure these are new additions. I must admit, I didn't actually look to see if there was an update. There's, put this like that again. Tunnel. We've got the tunnel there. Got that connection there. I think what we'll do is just put an ordinary one here, because we are experimenting. This is the original, because I mean, they're all roughly the same, aren't they? I mean, this is a an underground metro system, so we'll just put some metro stairs in like that. Right. That's a bit wonky, so I'm just wondering whether that will actually get past the tunnel. Oh, it's close, but the game looks like it's going to play. And then we're going to run there. And we'll just run that directly straight. Did that connect? Yep. Just take this round. And what I will do here is we'll just snap the two lines together. We've got to go a fairly big distance. We're just going to hook you up like that. And hopefully this will Don't think we need to worry about a path there, because what we can do is put a path to... Okay, it's going to be a bit of a cranky that way, but and we can just hook you up to there. When basically that's all that's going to be in this area. That is actually the easy bit. Now the next bit is going to be a bit more fun, because we've got pipelines under here. What we've got to do now is get above ground, or somehow, in order to provide a connection for the depot and the construction thing. In fact, I've got an idea for the depot, because technically I could, I mean, I've got several depots already on the map, so I could, there's no reason why I couldn't go over to Colville and just buy the trams there. But I think it might be a bit more elegant if I put in a depot here, just to, so that I can see things and get things done. Because all you do is put in an ordinary train depot. So what I'm going to do is, there's no power cables here, but not the train depots actually need power cables. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to put in, actually, no, change your mind. Change your mind. And we got that there. We just see where the rail line is. The rail line is there. Got a bit of space here, because I am toying with the idea of possibly building another rail construction office out here with specialist tunnelers in it. Now I think we will put the depot here, maybe a little bit further forward, and then we'll just connect it up with ordinary track. I think I can just be a little bit I'll probably messed that up actually. Move. Go into there. Back through there. So this is not strictly necessary, but I think we're crossover in, because truthfully this is just for trams, and the trams aren't very long, or probably the trams I'm going to be using. I don't think we need anything particularly special here. So what we'll do is just run a mud road and connect you into there. So we've now got a tram depot. What I want is to put the metro station close enough to, so that it can service this entire area. Also some of the buildings here, because we've got some unemployed people in this area, and it's a bit tight. So what I'm probably looking at is what is it? This is actually a bit small from a building perspective. This is actually a bit smaller than the other one, isn't it? And what I'm no, maybe we can use the other one. See, we will have the tram station there. I can run power out, so I don't need to worry about the power connection. Although it'd be nice to have it, but I think maybe, what's that? What have I got there? These suddenly got road connections. When did these gain road connections? Is that new? I'm not exactly sure why these two have suddenly gained road connections. Well, we'll sort that out another time, otherwise I'm never going to get this video finished. What we're going to do, back to here, just put you in about here, like that. Again, we'll just go under the ground, and we'll put in the the escalators in and again push it away a little bit. Actually no, we'll keep it fairly tight, and we'll put the tunnels in like that. I'm not going to put the actual connections in here because we're going to have to design the town around here. And again, we'll just run this tunnel, just make sure the connection is good. I think we're going to have to go deeper. Could be interesting. Oh, we got a connection there. Now this one's going to have to come out like that, and it's going to need to go deeper. And that connects up there. Now what we need here is the end station. We're going to put the end station in. I want this one to be pretty close to, then again if I put it in too close, then we're not going to be able to build on top of it, aren't we? Okay, right. I think we're going to kind of curve around like that a little bit. Put the tunnel in. Like that. Come above. What's above us? Lots and lots of power cables. I was hoping to... Oh, let me get that there. Let me just... get that just in there. The only the alternative is we put it there, but if I could get it just in on this edge here, that would be brilliant, assuming I can get the power cables in. Let me just see. What we're going to do is we're going to run through there. We're going to have to come out a little bit further, except you. Dive back underground. What's that? It's going to be a little bit close, but it's actually connected. That's good. So now comes the fun bit, because what we got to do, just escape that out, is I've got to put a connection to allow my construction trains in. To do that, the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to start on the surface. We know that that's there. And now I've been trying to experiment a little bit with the actual bit. Now I have been able to do something like that, and then but no, not. Try again. So that's now connected to there. Now this is going to look a bit strange, because of course what we've got to do now is connect the metro line to the thing. So, and just to show you, if I try and connect this, it will tell me no. So what we're going to have to do is put a short length of metro track out. And apologies for what I'm just about to build, but it's going to look horrible. And we're going to come out like, actually we'll do the inside one first. and then we're gonna have to come all the way around like that, and I wanted to run that. Oh no, it was still on Metro, sorry. Wrong track, wrong track. You need the power cable overhead. That's it. You can actually seem to get a little bit, you should have noticed. Now, what this track's going to do is provide access to both the tunneling machines and also the trams to get it into the overall line all the way through. So what I'm going to do is just accept that, and we've now got a fully end-to-end metro system. Now, whether it's actually going to work or not is a completely different matter. But we've now got this whole construction line underneath. First thing we're going to need to do is, I'm just going to let the game run because I think we're going to be out of range. Now this is where I've got to think a little bit about construction, because I don't think this guy's got anything to do at the moment. Because the first thing we're going to need to do is get this built. The only problem we're going to have is I meant to put it there. Right guys, I'm just going to cheat a little bit here. I'm going to put a, and I think this comes back to when you're planning, if you're doing this in realistic mode. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build that. If I was doing this in realistic mode, I would have planned this. The line we've connected to is an active rail line. So what we need to do is just build these sections in. That. And then I'm going to build this as well. Let me just put a signal in, because it's going to make the demonstration absolutely pointless. So we'll just put a signal there. Just build that there. And then what I'm going to have to do is put in some signals here. It's horrible, but I can't think of anything else that I can do. But a chain signal there, and like that. Oops, sorry. What that does is just make this into one big section. I know it's a mess, but all right, let me just. So what we're going to do is pick up the construction office again. Back up to here. Just come in here, and just gonna get these guys to build this and this. And we're just gonna let that run. If we get back over to here, right, we've got 2 trains coming out. What I'm gonna do is just wait to see if the trains will work. Right, what I'm gonna do now is just wait for the trains to come up here, because what I'm aware of is the fact that because we got the connections, I'm just wondering whether the trains will build both bits of track side by side down to the tunnel here. And then the next problem is the boring machines. Actually, while that's running, let me just get back here. Apologies for jumping backwards and forwards. How many trains have we got in here? Right, we got 4. You're in there. Right, I think I've still got my train construction office here. What I'm going to do is send you back to there. Open that up. Let me just find what I'm looking at. Oops, no, where are you? You're in here as well. And we're going to send you back to here as well. Now, the reason I've sent these 2 trains back is that we're going to need boring machines in here. And what I'm going to be interested to see, so we're going to buy a couple of boring machines. Oops, if I can find them. Buy 2 borers. Right, if we get back to up here, what I'm going to be very interested in is that I want the boring machines to do the underground work. Let's actually have a road connection. I bet the road connection is going to come out the wrong. Okay. What we're going to have to do is, here comes the first of the put you in. Because we're going to need to build that. And this guy is building the track. Obviously he's the faster of the 2 trains. So he's built that short section there. I've got no idea. Here comes the other train. It's the slower of the 2. So I'm just going to watch this for a little while. So they will work separately. Right, what I'm going to do is just let this guy build and go back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to we'll fund with dollars. I'm going to build these very quickly. And I'm spending a vast amount of money, but this is in the interest of experimentations. We've got the metro connection here now. What I want to do is get back to over here. So what I want to do is just make sure that all the trains are in the depot. Right, so all the trains are in the depot. Right. Now what we're going to do now is going to go up to here and get back to here. And what I want to do is allocate these 2. And then we're going to get back to the construction office. Now, I'm going to be very, very interested to see what train actually comes out of here. So we don't automatically get the borers. Let me just... So what I'm going to do is just come back to here. And I'm just going to wait for the trains to turn up. And we'll see how much they actually build, because the first part of the build process is, it says here, mechas are laying the bricks. So what I'm going to do is just let the game run and let the trains build the brick section here. Of course, one thing I will draw your attention to is the sheer number of work days that will happen. You can see this is 240 work days, but to actually construct this very short section here is going to take 2,190 work days. In fact, just to show it to you on this other side here, we click on this one, you can see 2,226 work days. That is quite literally just to build that very short length of track there. Just keep tracking this. So this is right. Here comes the second train. See if he pauses or whether he's happy. Yeah, they're happy. And I think the reason for this is the fact that we've got at the far end we've got an end connection. So let's just have a bit of a race. The EDK 300 is actually doing a bit better than the Q10F. In fact, he's run out. So sorry. Right, what I'm actually going to do now is we're actually going to delete this guy because he's a bit slow. So we're going to sell. Let me just get back over here, because what I want to do is we're just going to sell him. Find the construction office, and I just want to see whether the construction office will send out a borer. What we want is an EDK 300. I'm not sure. Yeah, so if I buy an EDK 300, I know I'm messing about with the money. So you actually need a surface train to do the initial above ground works. Let me just... Right, so what this guy's done is he's actually completed the first stage. Apologies for jumping backwards, of course, the map, but I just want to get this very clear in my head. So what we've done now is this guy is actually completed the tunneling phase. So again, what we're going to do is just go back to here. And what I'm going to be quite interested, just let the game run again. So welcome back. The EDK 300 has just returned. See what... so we got the borer. We got the borer. Game has done exactly what I thought. We'll just let it get clear of the trees. I want to have a nice zoom in up close, so we can use it as the thumbnail. Right. So the game is smart enough to know which one is going to do the job. That is exactly what I wanted to establish. So what we're going to do is jump back over to here again. Apologies. So what I'm going to do now is just wait for the board to get up to here. Conclusion so far is that the game is smart enough to know the difference between what needs to be constructed above ground and what needs to be constructed below ground. And that means that to do the actual underground sections, you are going to need a borer. What I'm going to do now is just wait for the borer to show up so I can... Okay, welcome back. The borer's arrived. I think we're going to get away with this crazy little bit of construction because the borer is quite short in relation to the gaps here. You can see we've got 1,795 worker days. And we're just going to speed the game up so that you can get it. What you'll see is that compared to a normal construction chain, the borer is pushing through this quite quickly. But you can see how quickly this borer is actually pushing through the actual section. But it's quite interesting at the moment. He's boring the tunnel. He's not actually lining it or anything like that. So he's pushing through very quickly. So we'll just see what happens. So what I'm going to do now is just cut the video and see what happens. And see whether it's a two-step process. Maybe the other train has to do the lining. Or whether we got to bore the tunnel and then go. As we go underground, you can actually see the borer moving through the ground here. So we're just going to let the train bore through and see how it goes. Right, welcome back. You can see the tunneler is just about to finish. You can see virtually all the work days have been taken up by the actual tunneler itself. But you can actually see it's stopped and it's saying we've now got to lay bricks. And we're actually in the laying brick phase. And the tunneler is actually leaving. If we go back this way, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to let the game play full because we're so close. But what I'm going to be very interested to see is what the game actually sends back, because it's almost like the tunneler can't carry any materials. So what I'm going to do now is just break the video again and see what the game sends back to construct the final phase in the process. Okay, welcome back. I thought I'd just come back to the construction office here to get an early indication of what will happen, because this is the original borer returning to the construction office. So we'll see what the construction office sends out, whether it sends out the normal construction train or the borer. And here comes the normal construction train. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So what I'm going to do now is wait for that to return back to the job. Okay guys, welcome back. The construction train has just arrived, and of course I've just realized that this is just laying bricks. Then we're going to lay the track. So this is definitely going to be a 3-step process, and I'm wondering whether it would be a 4-step process, because it's also going to need to lay the electrode as well. So what we're going to do here is just speed it up a bit to get this done. So again, we're going to get the incongruous effect of a train going underground. I'm assuming what's going to happen is this train is going to come down and lay all the bricks. So we'll just watch that. Right, we're just getting to the point where we're actually laying the last sections of bricks. And I do wonder, look at that. And one tip I will say is you do need to keep the workforce up to the highest possible level. And it looks very much like the the actual gravel, prefabs, electro components and steel. So the actual laying the railway will be done in one step. So looking at this, we've got 47 days left, 19 tons of gravel, 6.6 tons of prefabs, 1.3 electro components and 3.3 tons of steel. It says there's 0.003 of boards, but I think that's just a mistake. So what you can conclude is that this is going to be a 3-step process. When you're actually laying a tunnel, if you're actually doing these intersections, it will be a 4-step process, because you've got to build the above ground section, and then to build the actual tunnels is a 3-step process. So what you're going to need to do is do the tunneling, lay the bricks, and then lay the track. And just to confirm that, guys, I'm just going to let the game run, and I'll see you once the train returns to do the final stage. Okay, welcome back. The train is now showing up for the 4th time, and we'll just speed the game up because the video's getting a bit long. And what I want to do is just see whether what it's doing is laying all the track and the electro components at the same time. So what we've actually got, is that actually finished? Or am I booking the wrong one? Let me just see. Yes, this one's actually finished now. We go underground, and what we should be able to do, and this is now being picked up by the construction office here. And what should happen, I'm just curious again, sorry about this. We get back to the construction office here. Right, so here we are, we're back at the construction office. As far as I know, we should have both jobs finished. There's 0.01% of that going. And I'm assuming what's going to happen is that nothing's going to happen until the other train has actually arrived. But right, the train is just returning now to the construction office. I'm going to be interested. And here comes the borer. And we click on him. There's unfinished railroad 3. And what that is, if we go down here, keep that, go underneath, what this should be, that's that one there, 3614. So when you're building a normal tunnel, not a transition between a surface and the ground, the borer comes first. So it's still definitely a 3-step process. Again, just to confirm that, I'll just wait for the borer to arrive, and then that definitely will be the end of the video. Here comes the boring machine, and we'll just drop this down. And what you'll see is it will come down here, and he's going to start boring away to his heart's content. Conclusions: it is definitely a 3-step process, and when you're actually making a tunnel, because of all the traveling backwards and forwards to the construction office with the different trains and that, I think that makes a very strong case for building a construction office very close to wherever you are going to be building metros. And I think that goes back to very much like I said when I was about building an existing city. And I think if you're going to build metros, especially underground, you're going to need to do a lot of advanced planning. In fact, I think what I will need to do is have a look around to see if there's anywhere where I can put a construction office in that's close enough. So this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.